Okay, it's a tabletop review of the Charter Arms Pitbull 9mm revolver. Normally I like doing a little bit of shooting at the range when I do these videos, but YouTube has made it a lot harder to combine videos using their site, and so now you have to go find aftermarket software or whatever to get videos combined. So with that in mind, I went out to the range today, and because it was really windy today in southern New Mexico, that happens quite a lot, you wouldn't have been able to hear me, and so I shot this target and brought it back to the house so where I could do this without any wind at all. The revolver is a 5-shot revolver made by Charter Arms. For size comparison, the SP101, this is my SP101 in 22. They're not that dissimilar. Obviously the Charter Arms has a thicker cylinder, shooting the 9mm, and my particular SP101 is a 4-inch, whereas the Charter Arms has a much shorter barrel. As far as if you were looking concealed carry size, probably the most similar gun in terms of size that I have on hand would be the Glock 26. They are fairly similar in length and in height when you put in an extended magazine. The Charter is of course wider because it has the cylinder, and that's just going to make it a little bit bigger. And the cylinder is bigger than even most 5-shots because of a feature of the Charter, and the reason I bought it. You may have noticed that you can see brass. These are actually all fired cases that I put back into the gun, and the reason I did that is there's no moon clip. Everything fits flush, and when you eject, it does the ejection mostly for you. When I was out at the range, I found that this happens probably about half the time, where one round is not completely extracted. Now granted, normally you would be doing it this way. Sorry, I think I took that right off camera. Normally, when you were doing an extraction on your revolver, you would be dumping it like that. But even doing so, even dumping it, the rounds with the pistol pointing upwards, still I was having some that were sticking. The trigger on it's not bad. I'd say somewhere between 10 and 12 pounds double action, 5-6 pounds single action. It's not the lightest in the world, but it's, for what it is, it's something that, if you were going to carry this concealed, it would probably be like a lady carrying it in her purse or something like that, where you'd want that really heavy trigger pull for your initial shot, and it does the job there. And the trigger pull itself isn't bad. There is a little bit of stacking with it, but not a huge amount. As you're pulling the trigger, it comes all the way back, of course, and then releases. And right about here, there's a little bit of a stack before it lets go. The single action trigger pull is actually fairly nice. There's not a whole lot of travel at all. I'd say less than a 1/16 of an inch, really. I mean, it is, let me see if I can get it in here. It is very, very minor. But for the double action trigger pull, obviously it takes quite a bit more. You've got that entire length of travel, an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter, somewhere in that ballpark. The revolver, one of the main things about the revolver again is the loading, and I'm actually going to take a live round because you can hear this when he goes in. Let's see if I can get this to go. Yeah, that little click sound is saying I lost it on the extractor there. That little click sound, and I don't know if it's going to show up very well. Actually, right there. That didn't show up too badly at all. Right there. It's like a little spring-loaded little guy, and pop him out a little bit more so you can see him a little better. Basically, it goes in, and as the round goes in, the little guy just kind of goes like a fingernail or something would, and clicks and locks in there. Allows you to shoot it without moon clips, which is nice, so that way you don't have to screw with that. I don't think it would really work too well with a speed loader, just because getting a speed loader to grab into that little rim there in an auto cartridge. I don't know how well that would work. You know, it works very well with 357 or something like that. That's a rimmed case, but with the auto cartridge, maybe not so much. In terms of accuracy, I was able to use a couple of different types of ammunition, and we'll see how well this shows up. I have 5 shots here, double action. This was a Gila, and that was all this was fired at about 5 yards, about 15 feet, somewhere in there. So that wasn't too bad. And then I did 5-round single action with the Aguila, the 124 grain FMJs. You know, again, not bad. And you know, this is probably more indicative of the accuracy the gun is capable of, whereas that's, you know, probably me. I went and shot some Cellar and Belay 124 grain FMJs, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I really pulled these down here. I'm sure that was me. You know, and we'll talk about the sights here in a minute, but and then single action, you know, 4 of those, and then a 1 down here a little bit lower. And then finally in the middle, well, in the middle where I meant to shoot it anyway, I was using 147 grain Winchester, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, you know, all of that is within a couple of inches, with the most part. I mean, this is obviously way off. And this little flyer down here was quite a bit off, almost about 6 inches or so away from the rest of the grouping. You know, is it the revolver capable? Sure. Now, one of the problems with the revolver that you might be able to pick up here in the video is you have your rear sight, and you know, okay, rear sight, and then you can see the front sight kind of pops up there. Okay, but move it down onto the dark, and all of a sudden it becomes a lot harder to find that front sight. It is smooth, and there is no coloring at all on this, and so it does get lost when you go into a dark versus a lighter background. When it's on a lighter background, it stands out quite a bit more than it does on the darker background. And so just be aware of that. You know, it'd be easy enough to just put a little paint up here, and then just have to reapply that however often. For the money, you know, you can pick these up for about $4, $4.25, $4.50 maybe, somewhere in that general ballpark. It's not bad. I mean, the fit and finish is okay. On my particular example, and I doubt I'll be able to get close enough in here, where it says Charter Arms right here, that it just isn't very, it isn't a very attractive job of engraving. The C is kind of a little distorted. So, you know, the fit and finish is alright. You're not going to mistake it for a Smith & Wesson, but it seems to be good enough. You know, the weight, it's a fairly hefty 9mm, so shooting it is fairly comfortable. The fact that it has that full-size grip, I don't have huge hands, but, you know, my pinky is not, you know, threatening to fall off of that, which on a lot of the smaller snub guns, you know, you get that second finger and then you have to kind of curl your other one underneath it. Not this one. But I'm guessing most people, even with bigger hands than mine, will be able to get a fair amount of purchase down here. So they'll be able to get all 3 hands on there. Recoil is not bad, even with the 147 grain. That said, you probably don't want to shoot more than about a box before, yeah, you know, it's not the most pleasant. Even with that, you know, if you shoot 50 rounds and you shoot, I mean, you could shoot 100 rounds, it's not going to hurt your hand. It's just not, you know, it's not like shooting a Glock 17 or something like that, where you could literally shoot it all day and your hands would never object. After about a box, yeah, you know, that's probably enough. And again, for what it's designed for, which is just close-in point defense, that's probably all for the best. The overall condition, you know, it came, you know, fairly well done where it mattered, but, you know, like I said, the little touches that you would expect are not the greatest. Seems to be robust. I mean, we'll see what happens when I've got a lot more rounds in it. I did like the fact that it was made in USA. For some reason I was thinking Charter was not, but apparently they've been made in the USA, Connecticut or someplace like that, for a very long time. So if you're looking for an auto-loading revolver, something to complement your 9mm semi-auto pistols, you might give Charter a look.